Hello, everyone. My name is Emily Van Hoff. I am an artist and designer in Chicago. And this is actually my last class in this series of classes in partnership with Fiskars and Michaels. So I'm very glad to have all of you here today. Today, we are going to be working on some reusable fabric gift wrap and a couple of different edging styles. Let's see, I think obviously like this time of year is a time of a lot of like extra waste and things. So anything that we can do to be like a little bit more eco-conscious is a great idea. A lot of gift wrap is not recyclable. So this is just a fun kind of eco-conscious idea to add to your holidays. And I'm also going to be using the Fiskars Renew scissors, which are fully recycled. Both the blades and the handles are made out of recycled materials. So that's another fun kind of eco-friendly thing to add to your holidays. I will be keeping an eye on the chat as we go. So if you have any questions, you can put them in there. And we also have Tiffany here, who's a representative from Fiskars. So if you have any questions about the tools I'm using, she will be able to answer those. I will also be posting the replay of this class on my blog once it's available. And she should have that link in the chat as well. And you can also look there. All of the classes that I taught this year with Fiskars are available to watch both the class, and I have kind of a written out tutorial for all of those classes as well, if you want to go back and check any of those out. So if you want to switch to the overhead view, we can look at things we'll be working on today. These are essentially just like square pieces of fabric, and I'm going to go over a couple different ways that we can do finish the edges, do some fabric painting to kind of decorate them, and then I'll also walk through how to actually use them. So just to kind of give you an idea of what we'll be doing, I've got two different edging styles that we're going to do. One is like a tiny rolled hem, which is on this piece for just a very clean finish. And then the other one is leaving the edges just kind of raw and frayed, and then adding a little yarn border, just kind of zigzagging over the yarn for kind of a contrasting color detail there. And then we'll paint them and tie them up. So we can get started on that. You can do these in a variety of sizes. I think you can absolutely use patterned fabric. I think any fabric that's like, maybe you don't want anything too thick, but any kind of cotton sort of quilting-ish fabric would work well. As far as size goes, I have been doing ones that are 30 inches square, and then also some that are 25 inches square. The 30-inch one is good for like a shoebox size box, maybe like a much larger book. The 25-inch one is what I'm using for like a smaller book like this one. This wine bottle wrapping is also 25-inch square. So that's what I'm going to do today is the 25-inch. So I'm just going to measure that out here on my cutting mat. And I'm actually going to be just tearing these into a square rather than using a rotary cutter. So this edge is just kind of like the factory or the cut edge that I got when I ordered it. So I'm going to rip that off just so all of the sides are ripped evenly. But just make a little slit and rip it all the way across. And this gives you kind of a nice, it's a straight edge and it's also like nicely frayed. So once you have your first edge cut to size, measure out, you can't really see this here, but measured out to 25 inches or 30 inches or whatever size works best for you. So again, just made a small slit here and then rip it to and just keep doing that all the way around the edges. You're going to end up with a lot of like extra strings you'll have to pull off, but that is all right. And all right. So just a small slit. Okay, so now we've got the size of square that we want. And you can kind of clean up any little extra threads there. And you could also just leave it at this step if you don't want to do any sewing. Just leaving the edges raw is an option as well. I'm going to do, first we'll do a tiny rolled hem. And if you have a rolled hem foot on your sewing machine that you like to use, you can absolutely use that. If you don't have a rolled hem foot or you're not really sure how to use it, I'm going to show you another option to get the same look. We're going to start by ironing the edge of our square in just about 1/2 inch. It doesn't have to be exact, just kind of try to make it as even as you can. All right, and I'm just going to do one edge at a time. So I've ironed that one, grab my machine. And we're going to stitch as close to the folded edge as you can. So it's like just sort of almost just like a few stitch lengths away from the edge, kind of as close as you can do while keeping it consistent. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. All right, let's see, can you see that? I don't know if this light is. Okay, so it's very close. The stitching is very, very close to the edge, and then we're going to take our scissors with its nice pointy tip here and just cut as close to that line of stitching as you can without cutting into the stitching. So we're just kind of cutting off that frayed edge. See if it'll focus on that. Someone's asking about doing it with a fusible strip in the rolled hem. I have not done it that way. I'm sure there are a few different methods for achieving the same look. They can be a little bit tricky. Just cutting that across all the way. And it helps to kind of like hold that seam open so that you're not cutting into the main side of the fabric. I only want to be cutting off this little hem area. All right, so once we've got that cut all the way across, I don't know how well it's focusing on that here, but you can kind of see that. We're gonna iron that tiny hem over one more time and iron that flat. And depending on kind of how close you sewed to the edge and how close you trimmed it, it can be like as small as like 1/8 of an inch hem when it's finished. Which can be a little bit tricky to do, which is why I'm doing this couple of extra steps rather than just trying to kind of iron it, iron a hem this small without that extra stitching, kind of stabilizing it. All right, so I've ironed that over and we're just going to go back in and stitch that tiny rolled edge down. And I have pictures of all of this on my blog as well. It might be a little bit of a clearer image than the video is giving. All right, so that is the finished rolled hem. A little tricky to see on the video, but we got just like a nice, real clean, straight, tiny hem there. And if that's the one you're doing, obviously you would do that to all 4 sides. I'm gonna also show you how to do the yarn version, so I'm gonna switch over to that. Still so I can show you the yarn one again here. I've got just a piece of yarn that I'm zigzagging over top about 1/2 inch away from the edge. So I'm just going to set my machine to zigzag and run the yarn kind of right under the middle of the foot. Measure out enough yarn to go around. And I like to start, let's see. I like to start a little bit away from the corner. So I'll start here and just start zigzagging over top of it right at the end. And then when I go all the way around the square and come back to this spot, I do just like a little bit of an overlap at the start again. And that way, all my corners, I can just kind of pivot my sewing machine on the corner. You don't have to deal with starting and stopping on a corner. It's a little bit easier on this straight section. So I'm going to start partway in here and set my machine to zigzag. And again, this is like approximately a ½ inch away from the edge. It doesn't really matter exactly where it's at. The goal is just to kind of keep it fairly consistent. When you get to the corner, you stop just about a ½ inch away from the edge and just pivot. You leave your needle down and pivot your sewing machine and then just keep sewing down the next side. All right. Okay, and one side is the rolled hem. I'm going to leave that one without yarn. But if I was going all the way around, this would be the spot that they connect here. So I'm just going to zigzag over this portion of the edge and then end right where they connect. All right, so they're overlapping just a little bit, and then I will cut off this extra tail. And there you have it. The edge is still, you know, kind of unfinished and frayed, but it's not gonna fray too much more than it already has when you tore that edge. So once we have the edges finished, see if I can make this a little bit taller. At this point, you can either use it as is, or you can kind of decorate it however you would like. I have some fabric paint. You could also use fabric markers or something like that. I'm gonna put a paper under here so it doesn't bleed through. And I think this would be a fun thing to do, like with your kids or something, and then you can use them kind of continuously through the years and see, you know, look back on the artwork that your kids did when they were younger. There's like a lot of fun tradition building opportunities here. Oops. All right. I really like this pattern that I did, so I'm gonna kind of redo that one, show you how I did that. So I've got this fabric paint, which is just a jacquard textile paint in white. And got a paintbrush here, nice wide flat one. And then we can just kind of start freehanding a bit of a wavy line around the edge. Someone is asking a question about, let's see, about fray check. Where are you thinking that you would use the fray check? I'm not sure on that question. And if anyone has any other thoughts on like ways that you could decorate these, feel free to throw those into the chat as well. Definitely do some fun holiday themes. I kind of like the abstract ones. Can I do hearts with markers on the fabric? Absolutely. Hearts would be very cute. Okay, and then after I've done the first row, you kind of just go in and follow that first squiggle that you made. Potato stamping would be very fun. You can look up tutorials for that online, but just cutting shapes out of the potato and using that to stamp, that would be a super fun one. One of the other sample ones that I did, I used a fabric marker and just kind of did a polka dot design all across it. Could also just use polka dot fabric, I guess, but more fun to decorate it yourself. And then you can just keep following that pattern all the way to the inside. Probably not very exciting to just watch me do this for forever. So we'll leave it there. And then you're gonna follow the instructions on whatever fabric paint you're using. For this one, we let it dry completely, and then to heat set it, you can iron it from the back, I think for about 30 seconds. And then it should be pretty well heat fixed. I'll move this aside so that it can dry. And then I'll go over a couple different ways of folding and wrapping with these, with your fabric wrap. So this is a 30-inch square, and this is like about a shoebox sized box. So to just do sort of any standard box or book, you lay it on your wrap on a diagonal like that. Wrap the one side and then wrap the other side over. And then these ends just kind of tuck the edge in a little bit and bring it up on both sides there. And then you just tie your two ends together in a double knot. The markers might bleed through the fabric. That's why I laid a piece of paper under mine just to protect the surface. It's probably a safe bet. So that's like your basic wrapping, and this is nice because it leaves you sort of this little pocket. You can stick envelopes in there, or name cards, or you could put like a little sprig of Christmas foliage or a flower or something inside of that fold. So that's one option. Another option, I have like a wine bottle situation here. And I'll show you how I folded that one. So we're going to lay this out on a diagonal again. And then this is the center mark, which you can tell because it's been folded there. So you're just going to kind of lay your bottle close to that line, but not directly on top of it. And then wrap this end around and just kind of roll it up. All the way across. And then you'll take the end that's empty, fold it up along the side here, and then you can tie these two ends together in a knot. And then you have kind of a nice little handle there. I think that'd make a really cute like hostess gift. Another option, if you have two bottles, I'll untie this one a second. We do essentially the same thing. I have some nice like oil and vinegar You lay those close to each other in the center and then roll them up. And you just fold it in half and tie those two ends together at the top. Like so. Someone is saying it would look nice to complete it with a big safety pin instead of tying the ends. So that's definitely a fun option. You could add some ribbon or other fun gift decorating things. There's definitely a lot of options. I like these because it's like a fun, very simple base, and then you can kind of add your own personality to them as well. This one is a book. It's essentially the same idea as the box that we just did. But as you can see, laying it on diagonal in the middle, fold this end over. You can either wrap it all the way around, or you can fold this end inside in the middle there. And then fold the ends in and tie them the same way. I think that that's about everything that I have. Does anyone have any questions or anything that they want to add or any other ideas before we head out? Looks like not. Yeah, so thank you everyone for coming today. Thank you for coming to whichever of my classes you've been to so far this year. It's been a lot of fun teaching you and coming up with some fun project ideas. I hope you enjoyed them. And like I said, if you want to go back and look at any of the classes I've taught previously, those are all on my blog, which is on my website. My website is emilyvanhoff.com. So yeah, there's 12 great classes there, some fun ideas. If you got extra time for crafting over the holidays, would be a fun time to do a few projects. And yes, if you want to tag us so that we can see your projects, you can do Make It with Michaels, you can tag Fiskars, you can tag me. My Instagram handle is @EmilyVanHoff. I would love to see all of the things that you make. And it doesn't look like there are any more questions. So enjoy your night. Have a great holiday. And thanks for joining me today.